Alright guys, as you can see, I broke both of my wrists, so a lot of people have been wanting the story. I've kind of hinted at what happened, and I'll tell the whole story, so this might be kind of a long video, so you can skip over it if you want, or whatever, get a summary somehow. But essentially, I was being really stupid, and I went for a hike and fell about 20 to 30 feet, so I would say around 25 feet. What happened was I just went for a drive on Sunday, and I just figured I'd just drive around. I ended up in Ogden Canyon, about an hour from where I live in Logan, and I found a hike and it said waterfall, and I was like, oh, cool, I'll go do a waterfall hike, about half a mile. So I went and just wore my Chacos, shorts, and a t-shirt, and just went, and I was going to do it real quick, and then I was going to go back to my car. Once I got to the waterfall, there was a cool area where you could climb up to the top and kind of keep looking around the creek. So I did that, found some cool plants, and cool other waterfalls. But when I started coming down, I realized that it was going to be a bit harder. My chacos were wet, so they're really slick. So I came down about a 60-foot cliff off the side, and I was crawling down, and it seemed decently safe, but it obviously wasn't. I got about halfway down. I started stepping to pretty much the last step that would have put me in like the safe zone, and after that, I would have just kind of slid down, been perfectly fine. But I went for that last step, and then like all of a sudden, just time went super fast. Like I don't even remember my foot touching the rock. I just remember all of a sudden sliding, falling on my butt, thinking I'm gonna die right here, and then I did about 3 cartwheels, kind of like, if you're going skiing or snowboarding when you cartwheel down a steep hill. It's essentially what happened to me. So did about 3 cartwheels, ended up on the ground, stopped it with my chin, so I got about 6 stitches in my chin. You can't really see it, but I'll take a better photo of that. And yeah, so I ended up face first on the ground, and I looked around and was like, cool, I'm not dead. So I stood up, didn't even think about my arms, just stood right up. I was like, I gotta get out of here. Took about 3 steps, and then my thighs were just like, you gotta sit down. Like, it was just like my body just was like, no, you're not getting out of here alone. So I sat down, and I was like, well, shoot, what am I gonna do? So immediately I had to go find my phone, actually, because it flew out of my pocket. Went and looked for my phone, found it. It's all screwed up. You can see like a whole chunk of glass came out of it. It was already shattered, but it's just horrible now. So I pulled out my phone, had 1 bar of 3G, called 911, but I was so dazed and so out of it that I didn't know where I was. I didn't know how to describe what happened. All I knew was I did a half-mile trail to a waterfall out near Ogden Canyon. So I was actually at North Fork Park, and just a random water trail back there. And so I sat there trying to talk to the operator, but had no idea what was going on for about, I don't know, like about 20 minutes. And then another hiker came down. I yelled up to him, and he was like, I was like, hey, is someone there? And he's like, yeah. And I just started screaming bloody murder, just help, help, because I was down in a canyon. He crawled down as safe as he could, and he ran over and checked on me real quick, and I was like, dude, you just gotta go call 911. So he ran back up the trail, got my phone number, and called 911 for me, just to really tell them exactly where I was. So as I was laying there, I hung out there for about 45 minutes, most of it alone, until a family came down, and they were really freaked out. Their kids were terrified of me because I was covered in blood, and couldn't hold my wrist up, and I was just like, I was rocking back and forth because I was in shock. I didn't know what was going on. I mean, I didn't get a concussion, but I was just scared. So then the family came over finally, and the dad talked to me, and I was just like, dude, let's talk about sports, music, where you're from, just keep my mind off of this. Like, paramedics are on the way. So eventually, as I sat there and talked to them, they gave me some water, and they had some gauze, so they cleaned up some of the blood on me and stuff like that. And then the firefighters came down. And firefighters were awesome. These guys were they knew exactly what they were doing, and they were really cool about it. Like the first thing one of the firefighters said was like, "You good?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'm fine." Just kind of smiling and laughing because I was just so mesmerized about what happened. And the guy's like, "Where'd you fall from?" And I kind of like pointed to the cliff holding up my wrist, and he was like, dude, that's pretty cool. And yeah, so I mean, they're nice guys, and they joked around with me and kept my mind off of it and really like made me feel calm and collected and everything. So they started administering splints, and they checked my neck, they checked my back. Didn't have any contusions, didn't hit anything on my head. I just stopped myself with my chin, but now my jaw really hurts, and that's about it. Yeah, so they splinted me up. We sat there for another, I don't know, another 20 minutes to 40 minutes waiting for search and rescue to come. Finally, search and rescue came, and they put me on a stretcher and pulled me out. The thing was though, when they stuck me with medicine, I also was sitting in like 90-degree weather out in the sun, and I started to pass out. So like the guys had to catch me and everything, and it's just like one of those surreal experiences where it's just like, like if people weren't around, like it could have been a horrible situation, or if I hit my head really hard, I potentially would have died. So it's kind of like a crazy experience. And then they put me on the stretcher. They had to pulley me up using mechanical advantages and just like harnesses. They harnessed the stretcher to themselves, so like I was super secure. They pulled me up about 60 feet up the cliff that I came down, and then they put me on a wheel, which was like a wheelbarrow attachment to the stretcher I was on, and they slowly walked me down the trail about the half mile that it was to the parking area. There's two really steep parts where they had to belay me down just on the stretcher, and that was pretty scary, but I guess they've had experiences at that same exact canyon and at that same exact waterfall, so they were pretty prepared. They threw me in an ambulance. I rode the ambulance all the way to Ogden. It was quite a long ride, but I was on so much morphine that all I remember is we drove by another waterfall, and I went, ooh, and they were like, yeah, sit back down. So yeah, that was pretty wild. And then yeah, got to the ER. They immediately took me in. They put me in a neck brace just to make sure nothing was wrong with that. Immediately got me into a CT scan. Yeah, they had to like cut my shirt off. They had to put me into like life management. They had all the measurements they possibly could take on me. They CT scanned my head to see if I was concussed or anything, and that was all good. They checked if my jaw was broken. That was fine. My neck and spine was fine. So then I went in and got x-rays. I got about 15 to 16 x-rays. They x-rayed both of my thighs to check if my femurs were broken or fractured or anything. They checked my right ankle because the ankle was killing me. I mean, it's sprained and pretty cut up, but I can walk, which is a miracle. And then they obviously did both my wrists and my hands. I broke the radius where it connects to your hand. It's called like the styloid or something like that of the radius. I think they said like stylus at first, and that seems like the word. So I don't know if you're a doctor, that's what it is. It's just right at the tip of my radius on both arms, which is like a pretty uncommon fracture, and it's weird that it happened on both, but it happened. And it was just a wild experience. I'm perfectly fine now. I mean, I'm on pain meds and stuff, and I'm super sore, but now that I got these nice nifty casts, I can actually use my fingers, so I can type, I can text, I can put on my pants and wipe my own butt, which is a miracle, and they're waterproof, so I can take a shower by myself, which is really cool. But I mean, honestly, it was awesome. Like, firefighters were awesome. The sheriffs were really mean and not cool. Search and rescue was awesome. Yeah, like the ER doctors were really cool. The nurses were really nice. And then my sister came and picked me up and took me to her house and really watched over me. She's been awesome. She's been driving me to doctor's appointments and there and back. And finally, and now I feel a little more self-sufficient, I guess, or I can do things on my own. I can eat by myself. I can cook potentially. I mean, I got little movement in my fingers and it's a little sore. Like, can't pick up anything over about 5 pounds and stuff right now, but I feel like I should be getting better over the next few days. And yeah, so I want to thank everybody that's been super nice and super supportive. I know I take responsibility. I know what I was doing was stupid. Like, don't climb, more than 10 feet without a rope, or especially don't do it alone. I was lucky enough that I had cell service that I could call 911, but I was especially lucky that it was a highly trafficked hike and that a lot of people were out Sunday evening and a lot of families and stuff. So screaming in the forest help was terrifying for 20 minutes until until somebody came and helped me. Um, I know a lot of people are kind of upset with like how happy I am with the situation, how I'm smiling. I've gotten some interesting comments of people like, "Wow, like you're really inconvenienced a lot of people that you love," but like I'm just happy I'm alive. Like I shouldn't have done what I did. I was being dumb, but I don't know if you know me. That's just something I do, and I apologize to anybody that it's inconvenienced, but I'm just stoked to be alive. Like there was a report of someone falling exactly where I did in 2016, and she had to be life flighted. She broke 5 ribs, had internal damage, and had brain contusion, and had to get surgeries and all this stuff. And it looks like I don't even need surgery on my wrist. I'll know next week, but I mean, like everything that's worked out has worked out. I mean, it's amazing. Like so many things that has happened in my life probably put me in a position where I could react correctly, where I was calm when it happened, but still I was scared, but I was able to communicate with the people around me and tell them exactly what was going on and how I was hurt, and I was able to really just take anything that the doctors needed to do and be comfortable with it. I mean, the shots were really scary when you're already hurt and then they're like, okay, I got to stab you now. And it's like, I don't know, like it's just, everything is just escalated in that moment. And when I almost passed out, they caught me and they made sure I was okay and like were legitimately concerned for me. And it's just awesome to think like, I mean, every single person that's interacted with me since then has potentially saved my life. I mean, if I was doing a hike out in the middle of nowhere where nobody hiked and I didn't have self service, I might still be sitting in the forest screaming and asking for help. I mean, I I think maybe I could have crawled out, but it would have been the most gruesome, horrible experience of my life, and I probably would have injured myself even more. I mean, those were steep hills. Like I would have had no arm support. My legs were killing me. It would have just been the worst thing in the world. So I'm grateful. I mean, I own the mistake. It was my mistake, and I know I scared a lot of people, but right now it's just I'm just happy I'm alive. I'm happy I don't have lifelong injuries from this. I mean, it's gonna suck. I mean, like I just went to the bathroom for the first time, like, and it was difficult to wipe my own butt. I mean, haven't taken a shower since then. I mean, like classes are gonna be hard. I can't write, can't like typing's hard, so it's gonna suck. But the reason I'm positive is because I'm not paralyzed. My legs aren't broken. I can walk. I can think clearly. I can just be alive, which I don't know. I mean, is a huge, huge thing. So if I look like I'm having a good time, I'm not. I'm just happy that I didn't die. So I'm just trying to be positive and just think straight and just be like, you know what, like this happened and now this is what needs to happen. And I just need to keep believing and just keep moving on and just keep being happy. If I just get down on myself, it's just going to be 10 times worse. So I'm just going to keep smiling. I mean, every photo you've seen of me, I've been smiling. I mean, even the moment I fell, I remember laughing at myself and being like, Ty, you're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like in the CT scan, I was pretty high because I was on some pretty heavy meds, but I remember they got mad at me because I kept giggling and they're like, what's so funny? I mean, you almost died. And it's like, yeah, it's just such a surreal experience. I mean, like everything that happened, like never been driven in an ambulance before. And I don't know, like the moment it happened and I realized I couldn't walk out of the forest by myself, I sat down. I told myself, I need to ask for help. I need to be okay with people helping me. I need to be okay with even the simple things like people helping me plug in my phone to charge or people helping me walk or open a door and things like that. And I've been okay with that, and it's hard. I mean, it sucks. Like, I feel bad for them, I feel bad for myself, but it is what it is now. I mean, a mistake was made. I shouldn't have made it, but we're here now, and I guess this is my future for the next month. I don't need surgery. My recovery looks like it's just about 30 days in the cast, which is awesome. So that's the update. Yeah, if you have any questions or want to talk to me, definitely message me or call me or whatever you want to do. I'm pretty open to talking about it. Yeah, thanks.